That we're so close to Ramadan. Oh my god, what the hell? Salaam Friends, welcome back. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded a video, but life has been very busy, super hectic, and now things are getting settled, alhamdulillah. Now that I have time to film videos, I'm so excited that we're so close to Ramadan. Oh my god, what the hell? So I thought it would be a great idea if I made a video to talk about how to prepare for your first Ramadan. So of course, my first Ramadan was full of trial and error, and honestly, I was kind of in it on my own. I did not know everything that I needed to do, but alhamdulillah, I have some practice now, and I will hopefully give you some tips to help you have your smoothest first Ramadan possible, inshallah. The first thing that I recommend to have ready during Ramadan is to make a list of YouTube videos, Islamic podcasts, especially those by Revert. If you are new to Islam and this is your first Ramadan, I highly suggest having podcasts. There are plenty of them out there, especially by Reverts, so take full advantage of that to gain some knowledge or just so that you can get insight from someone who has been on a similar journey to you. As you can see, I still have a couple of books that I need to finish. I've been trying to finish them for the past couple of Ramadans, so hopefully, inshallah, this year I'll get through them. So speaking of book lists, you'll definitely want to get yourself either a physical or digital copy of the Quran. As for me, my first Ramadan, I did use Audible, and I would just listen to it an hour each day in the morning or on my way home from school. So that's definitely an option as well. But you definitely want to try to get through the Quran during Ramadan season. So this was actually my first Quran, and I still have it. Definitely going to keep it for as long as possible. But I do have a bigger Quran that has transliteration and translation as well as the Arabic text. I'll go ahead and link that down below, as well as any other references I feel will be helpful for you during Ramadan. So besides making lists and having these physical items ready, you'll want to definitely educate yourself on what exactly is required of you during Ramadan. It's so important to know what fasting is, why we're doing it, and what exactly breaks a fast. So educating yourself on these kinds of things is very important. You don't want to get halfway through Ramadan and realize that you've been unintentionally breaking your fasts. Okay, so speaking of fasting, I definitely suggest fasting a little bit earlier than is required. So typically 2 to 3 weeks before Ramadan starts, I try to start fasting at least 2 days a week. At the very least, I try to push back my meal times as much as possible so that by the time Ramadan starts, I'm not necessarily eating lunch, or I'm having a very, very light lunch. So basically by the start of Ramadan, I'm not really eating during the middle of my day. Usually having a late breakfast and or an early dinner helps to prepare as well. But you definitely don't want to make the mistake I did during my first Ramadan, which was going in, cutting out everything cold turkey. It definitely was not as fun of an experience as it could have been, and I was struggling the first week or two. So fasting sooner, I highly suggest it. So while we're on the subject of eating, I think it is so important to have meals done ahead of time. Meal prepping can really cut down on stress. This is especially true for suhoor, or the morning meal right before prayer. I have had so much trouble with this in the past, and I find that meal prepping really, really helps. Usually it's just me waking up super early in the morning, trying to throw something together very quickly, also worried about Fajr time, and really just calling it too close. So instead of waking up 30 minutes before prayer, trying to eat a banana and water, I instead am meal prepping either the night before or at the very beginning of the week so I can have something small but still sufficient in the morning before prayer time. So things like fruit, eggs, and of course water usually are sufficient enough for me in the morning, but of course, if you are someone who prefers a heavier meal in the morning to kind of get you through the day until iftar, then I highly suggest meal prepping again. So that is a perfect transition into our next topic, which is planning activities around prayer. So of course we all have things that we need to do throughout our days. There's a lot of things that we might need to accomplish. However, prayer is obligatory always. It's always very important. During this time, we need to make an effort to try to complete prayer times on time. Something that I like to use to help me get to prayer on time, especially when I am out on the field, my job requires a lot of travel. I'm always on the go, so I need something to help me find a masjid close by. I use the masjid app. It's super user-friendly, super quick when I'm on the go. I've never had any issues with it. I know there's plenty of apps out there that help you to find a masjid or a prayer area, but so far this one is my favorite.
I also think it's worth mentioning that it's totally free, and as you can see, the layout is great. You can get notifications, you can see the prayer times, and this one even has a message board. Super easy, highly recommend it.
Again, that'll be linked down below with other helpful resources. So one of the last pieces of advice was actually given to me, which is to just stick it through. So if you're like me, a revert who is kind of on their own for the first time, or for the first Ramadan rather, then you might have feelings of discouragement. You might not have a lot of support most of the time, but just know that at the end of it, you're gonna feel so powerful. You're gonna realize you have a discipline over yourself, over your entire body that you may have not experienced before. This time is definitely to become closer to your creator, to be humbled, and to experience something that we don't always experience throughout the whole year. So remember, it is such a special time. Which leads to my very last tip. The sun is starting to get in my face. So the last tip I have is to go into Ramadan knowing your intentions for what you want to get out of it. Like I said, this is a time when you are so close to your creator, when you are doing the best you can, and kind of cleansing yourself from what you may have experienced throughout the year. So go into it knowing what you want to ask for and knowing what you are expecting from yourself for the following year. Since this is your first Ramadan, there will be mistakes, there will be opportunities for learning. It happens, it's only human, it's what we expect from ourselves, but take it as a learning experience and just gain as much knowledge as possible. Alright, I wish you the best of luck on your first Ramadan season, or if this is not your first Ramadan season, I hope this was helpful for you, and I hope to see you next time. Let me know if you want me to cover any more topics like this. I'm so glad that this might help someone out there who is going in this for the first time. Know you're not alone, know that I'm making dua for you, and hopefully we will come out of this better than we went in. So until I see you again, inshallah, Salaam Friends.
How it's supposed to feel.